my discussion about the Old Testament is really taking people on a journey to understand really the distinction from my perspective of the New Covenant and the Old Covenant, and that the New Covenant is supported primarily by the resurrection, and the other way I'd say this is, the Old Testament is at the beginning of our book, but it's at the back of our apologetic method, that we take the Old Testament seriously because Jesus did, and we take Jesus seriously because of the resurrection.
And my point was this, is that, Andy, you're saying it's not based upon the scriptures, it's not based upon the word of God, that's not the foundation, that's not the center, that's not the place of certainty, it's just that there's these people that said this guy rose again from the dead. And my point is you're divorcing all of the resurrection from its meaning. It only has meaning in light of what God said in his word was supposed to take place in history. And yes, the Bible in the Old Testament said that the resurrection of the Son of Man was supposed to happen. And that's why the early disciples on the road to Emmaus were challenged by Jesus and chastised by Jesus after the resurrection, is that Jesus challenges them and says, slow of heart to believe all that the prophets had spoken. Here is the Son of Man now raised again from the dead, walking on the road alongside of them, bunch of sad saps, like, we thought he was going to do this, and we thought he was the Messiah. And Jesus calls them foolish and slow of heart to believe all the prophets had spoken. And Jesus tells them, wasn't it necessary for the Messiah? And then he lists all the things, including raising from the dead. That's in the Old Testament. The point is that Andy Stanley is constantly trying to divorce the Christian faith from the very word of God that created the Christian faith. The Christian faith, the Christians did not create the word of God. The word of God created the Christians. It's the wrong direction. And he's divorcing even the event of the resurrection from the meaning that the scriptures themselves gave to it. And so my point here to him is to bring him back to the foundation and say, God has already discussed this. God has already said in Deuteronomy chapter 13 that even if someone comes and they do a sign and wonder, they give you signs and wonders, the whole thing looks real, like it's actually from God. You are still supposed to test that prophet by the previous revelation, the word of God, where God says, if they lead you after other gods. Well, how do I know that they lead me after other gods? Because God has already disclosed himself in history. He's already condescended and revealed himself. He says to his prophets in the Old Testament, thus saith the Lord, and he reveals himself to his people. He says, even tells them his name. And we have to take that into consideration. God is saying, even if a prophet comes and it looks real, you still got to test that guy by my previous revelation. And if he leads you after other gods, he contradicts what I've already said about myself, that's how you know that he's a false prophet. And God is testing you to see if you love him. And how's a test supposed to actually come to fulfillment? I'll know that you love me by the fact that you actually are having my words as supreme over even what your eyes see. It's the word of the living God. That's the foundation.
This video is brought to you by Amtech Blades. We are very excited to be partnering with Amtech. Bill Rapier, longtime Navy SEAL, DevGuru operator, amazing brother and friend. Looking for a battle axe to carry on your person, to chop some wood? They've got you covered. Looking for a blade to carry on you every day? Also got you covered. Look at this. I got to check my mail. What do we got going on here? Oh, look how sharp that is. What is this? Oh, 5% off. You can go to amtechblades.com, put Apology in the coupon code, get 5% off your order, and he will match that and give 5% to End Abortion Now. Again, amtechblades.com. We're grateful for them. Check them out.